One of the reasons I am so process driven is because I think without a process, step by step, with a repeating type of analysis, there's no way to replicate your wins. There's no way to replicate a system in the market. So it's very important that you be process driven. I mean, darn near step by step, like you're cooking from your favorite recipe book. So here's one of the processes that we're going to talk about right now, and that is looking at an initial balance breach. Looking at an initial balance breach. Now, what is the initial balance? Let's define that first. It's really simple. Let's put a couple vertical lines here. Now, I do have some indicators, clearly, that allow us to automate some of this, but you really don't have to, because it's a very simple assessment of time, highs, and lows that don't need an indicator to be measured. You can do this on any platform. You need to know the highest high and the lowest low for the first 1 hour of the day. So if all you want to do is drop those two vertical lines, enveloping those times, and then putting a horizontal line at the high, and then putting a horizontal line at the low, like this. Some traders like to put a box around it, which is fine too. You just put a big shaded box around it, no problem. That's kind of what the indicator that we use does. So let's say you want to do the box thing, no problem. Go and grab the rectangle drawing tool from your platform and just make a box around the first. So however you want to do it, it's really, really simple. Whichever end of the box that we leave, that's your initial balance breach. Again, the initial balance is the first 60 minutes of the day. Hence, we have 9:30 to 10:30. First 60 minutes of the day. Here's your high. Here's your low. There's your breach. So this is known as an initial balance breach. So there's your IB, well, B. IBBR, all right? Initial balance breach. That doesn't, for me, I know some traders will buy that, but that's a Momo trade. That's a momentum trade. I don't like that. Raghee does not do Momo. You guys know that, if you've been following me for any length of time. But what that does open the door to is a VWAP zone entry. So we have 3 VWAPs, 3 time-anchored VWAPs that we use. 2 a.m., 7 a.m., 9:30 Eastern. 2, 7, 9:30. I don't believe in rolling into, I don't really like rolling VWAPs or any kind of rolling volume study. I always want to anchor it. So I have those, and that creates then a zone that allows me to take advantage of a pullback to here, a pullback to here, or a pullback to here. But quite frankly, the entire range is valid. This whole range is valid. And one easy thing you can do is just cut the range in half. Upper range, lower range. You can call this aggro, you can call this conservative. Right? You can call this the upper part of the range, you can call this a lower part of the range, however you want. But I would recommend smaller position size in the upper part of the range. I would be fine with larger position size in the lower part of the range, because it's closer ultimately to the stop loss, which would be just below the lowest VWAP. So this was a classic initial balance to volume weighted average price kind of day. Would I look for shorts here? Not at all, and not for a minute, because once I get that initial balance breach, it is long only, and that directional bias is really important. You can do this every single day, initial balance breach to VWAP. Now, the probabilities are going to be higher for the follow through if I have certain, I use fairly unorthodox market internals, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But you want to use different market internals that give you an idea of sort of the flow of the market. Is it more likely to move higher or lower? Okay, but that's the basic technical setup for this. All right, so we'll give this a whirl on Monday, and we'll take it from there. Look for that 60-minute break to the up or down side. Look for it to come back to the volume weighted average price. That's your trade. All right, any questions about that leg of the setup?